What's up, guys? This video I want to talk about the trauma bond. Recently made a video about it, but I just kind of want to go more in depth and talk about, I guess, post-trauma bond, right? So if you're watching this video, you may have, just recently had a breakup or just doing some, reconnaissance work about psychology. It's getting a little hot in here. And, trying to figure out certain terms and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, in this video, I want to talk about like healthy, like the spectrum of trauma bond, right? Everything, I think it's helpful to look at everything kind of as a spectrum. These terms, even words themselves are like, they are fluid. They're kind of fluent, especially in these days when we use words like literally, not literally. We change things, right? And it's just, so having said that, let's talk about the trauma bond. So I haven't Googled the exact definition. That's kind of the point about things evolving. And the way I look at trauma bond is the push-pull. It's like, it's a bond based off of trauma, of course. And I'm not going to go too much in the definition. We've done that in a previous video, but, the push-pull. And essentially, to me, the trauma bond at its finest, and just a term like narcissist not being like a person with narcissistic personality disorder by definition cannot be cured. I feel like a trauma bond at its highest, obviously it's one of those things that you can't see the future, but a trauma bond at its finest, i.e. its most toxic, is both parties trying to get the other party, one is pulling, the other one's pushing, and by design that is unsustainable. And that chaoticness, that chaos, that it's essentially a drug. I mean, your levels, you're treating this person like a drug factory as far as the intermittent reinforcement, the you love me now, you don't love me, it's this earned love, and so, for example, a narcissist and a codependent, and that's another word that's kind of changing, codependency. Everyone's kind of codependent. Some people believe everyone is, whatever. But let's just say, narcissistic household, narcissistic mother, the codependent son, and then you're reliving that, and that person, the thing you love in them is, and that's where trying to change people is never right, ever. You get to know someone, you figure them out, and that's the important part, is this someone I'm willing to accept or not? And because the minute you start trying to change someone, that is a red flag in a trauma bond relationship. It's trying to have your unmet needs from childhood be met by this person who can't meet them. And that is and that's kind of what I want to get to in this video, as I kind of expanded on the definition in a little longer than I'd like to. But post-trauma bond relationship, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot personally, is what is the difference? Here's the big question, is what is the difference between a trauma bond, an unhealthy person, and you like what you like, i.e. it's in the trauma bond, it's not all bad. And there's something that person obviously you got along with, especially if it was a long-term thing or, whatever. And this is another thing, it's I see a little bit of it. I just made a video about needing a psychology degree to be in the dating market. These terms, these videos that I'm making, I never want them to be I guess I kind of just about to contradict myself, but I was being somewhat facetious in the last video where I was trying to get ahead of women's intent, blah, 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 blah. And I don't want to be a part of that, because that's the push-pull digitally. We're doing the trauma bond via these videos, and people are internalizing. For example, if I'm talking about you know, we're talking about toxic personalities and all this stuff, and you meet someone, you're like, I like everything about them, but you like, that could have been your wife, that could have been your husband, and it might have worked out, and something gets in the way of that. Something like you hear in a video like this, or I hear in a video like whatever about certain things, and I want all these videos to always be kind of just like, hopefully opening up doors and not shutting them, and not, you know, creating a even more turtled society, you know. So having said that, what is the difference between, you know, an unhealthy person and a potential trauma bond, and just like something spicy, something like, you know, it's fun, it's vibrant, but not toxic? And again, of course, that's a spectrum. But I would argue, and this is the point of the video, it took me a while to get here, is an authentic person. So without authenticity, without, and this is the problem with narcissistic personality disorder, this is the problem with people that haven't healed. And this is why we don't just like, aren't we ever, like 95%, like a huge, I think I would argue even more now, we connect without verbal. And that's why, like, we know when someone's healing, we know when someone's toxic, like we kind of have a gut feeling. And again, if it's a trauma bond, it's like that relationship probably could work. It's just like at certain times in your life, like I think that's a, you know, that's actually a perfect segue into like, someone could be perfect for you, but just not right now. You know, well, that's when people, I think when people say I'm in a different place in my life right now, it's like that I really like that person, but they're not mature enough. They don't see their flaws. They don't, you know, they're whatever it is. And yeah, so that's what I would say is, and I would really like implore people like to let me rephrase that. I don't want to be mansplaining. I don't want to be like freaking I try not to be so preachy. A lot of this is like, my videos are basic pure projection. I don't know if you guys have noticed yet. But I don't know if you can have a relationship long term. Like, I just, if one party or either party is inauthentic, like, you have to have vulnerability. You have to be able to, because if that person isn't authentic, how could they ever, they're not going to be authentic towards themselves. How could you ever expect that person to be authentic towards you? Like, they will lie. This is the whole thing about these personality disorders, is ultimately these are not adults. According to my therapist, the majority of people are not adults. They're children in adult bodies, and I think I have to agree with that. It is and that's just toxic, because no one can be direct. It's all games, it's immaturity, and that's something I've struggled with, and I'm just now kind of waking up to, is like, that's crazy, I even thought this way, but like my craziest, or my the worst thing you could be in my mind was like boring. Like, I actively surrounded myself with characters, just wanting, like, they're trying to rescue people or to be around people that are just crazy. And it's like, I conflated chaos and trauma and toxic people with like high vibration, getting the most out of life, loving life, because and there is of course a correlation, and like there are people that are just working office jobs and they're miserable and they're, you know, but they're adults. But it's like, so often I feel like I would conflate those people with like just what the exact opposite of what I want to be around, and like and just being Peter Pan, like being a child, like that's what I wanted to be. It's not cute. Man or woman, it's not cute. After a while, and man, I undervalued peace. Being alone with your thoughts and being peaceful is just like, I don't know, it's so the trauma bond, can it be healthy? Just like narcissism. Can you date a narcissist? Like, well, then this is my framing of it. If they are full MPD, they don't plan on doing a giant, you don't roofie them with a giant thing of mushrooms. Just kidding. That was a joke. Because if they're narcissists, they won't actively do psychedelics to try and help them, but they might do it. Anyway, if they have pure MPD, it's never going to work in a relationship. If it's a true trauma bond, where it's, that's kind of where I look at the extremes of a trauma bond, is like, no, it's not going to work. You are drug addicts. That's why so often these trauma bond relationships are people on substances. It's like, it's just one big drug. It's one big, and that is, I'm here to tell you, that is not what life is about. i.e., that is not, it's like Limitless, the movie. It's like, great, you can live this lifestyle, you can do all this shit, and be, it's high vibration, but is it sustainable? It's like, that's the question. Your mind can't handle that kind of, your mind can't handle that over a certain period of time. Whether it's the substances that are keeping the relationship going, whether it's the lifestyle with like whatever it is that's unhealthy, the people, the friends. I would say a trauma bond is not. It's, first of all, it's not love. Why be in a relationship? It's, you're drug addicts. Show me a trauma bond relationship at its most toxic, and I'll show you some substance abuse. Because again, I think a trauma bond at its peak is just this pushing, pulling. So, get some lag there. And so, yeah, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. Usually abandonment issues, usually delusion. There's always some level of delusion. Not looking at oneself. I mean, gee, it's just crazy, man. Like how much I've learned about this stuff. Like how different we all are. Our minds are so different, and they're always changing. And the delusion and all these mental health issues. Now we have these substances. It's like we're a different species, because, and you can't compare anything to the past, because it's impossible. You can't just say, imagine 1950s right now without like any of these substances, like it was 1950s or something, like, which there was substances, but like, I'd say, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm trying to like create a what if situation about back then with taking one thing out, like imagine, but it's like, we're just flying down this thing called life, and it's constantly evolving. It's very interesting, but yeah, we are so different, especially in America, with the different different mental health issues, all the different substances that are people trying to counteract them. And I guess my point of bringing that up is the connecting part is like, it's so much more challenging now. I think it's important just to give each other grace, and like, it's so hard because often that's the hardest time to like not judge someone and to like try and understand is like when they're hurting you, or you're like, they're so different from you, or they're toxic. But it's like, God, it's powerful to like really try and put yourself in someone's shoes, but not both feet. If they're a narcissist, just put one foot in their shoe and just kind of, and then get the hell out. Just fucking take that shoe and start beating them with it, and then throw it at their face, and then run away, slam the door behind you, and then after 2 years, then sit down and then put yourself in their shoes. Cluster B, beat them with the shoe first and get the fuck out of there. You gotta protect yourself. Anyway, here I'm on preach land again. Yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. I don't know, I went on a tangent, of course, as I do. But that's a trauma bond. Let me know what you guys think about trauma bonds. And this was kind of just me, diarrhea of mouth. This was not probably a very helpful video. Maybe it was, but every time I put a video up and I'm like, that video sucked, it's the biggest video, so I'm just gonna keep posting. Trauma bond, let me know below what your take is on it. What's the difference between a trauma bond and like just what you like spice, like can you make a trauma bond work if you have done the healing work? At least one party has. Yeah, trauma bonds. Talk to you guys later.